TV Crazy Man here. Today we tackle goofs and super fun facts from Mars from the My Favorite Martian TV series from the 1960s. And stay tuned for some awesome early foreshadowing of Bill Bixby's 70s superhero TV show, The Incredible Hulk.
Evaluation. You're in big trouble.
One of Martin's cool Martian tricks was his ability to go invisible by simply raising his antenna, which looked a lot like real TV antennas.
Why don't you just, disappear?
In this scene from the episode How Are Things in Uncle Martin, Martin is invisible and getting out of Tim's car, but if you look in the back you can see somebody opening the door for Martin, which was really nice except for the hiding and the sneaking around part. Seeing tricks like this on shows like My Favorite Martian, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, you tend to think there was some major high-tech gadgetry going on here, when some of it was just as simple as a man hiding in the back seat of a car and sneaking the door open. Here's an antenna goof that gives away the fact that the antenna is not really coming out of Martin's head. If you look really closely to Martin's left, you can see the antenna sneaking up his back. In the episode Martin Meets His Match, we see a crew member that I suspect is responsible for making Martin's antenna work. Do you see him to the left staring up at Ray Walston? I think it's really neat how he disappears the exact second that Martin disappears. I know what you're thinking, and yeah, you probably couldn't see this crew member back when this originally aired, as the old TV sets, of course, were curved on the edges, effectively cutting most of him, if not all of him, out of this picture. But if you saw at least a small bit of him back in the day and wondered what the heck that was, let me know in the comments.
No, I've been in nothing but trouble since I met you.
And I imagine that will continue.
In the episode Double Trouble, a fire dancer performs a bit of magic, but I don't think it was intentional. In this scene, the fire dancer has two torches. He throws one in the air that Martin freezes. Then Martin unzaps it, it falls, and the dancer catches it. But where did the other torch go? You know, he must have set that torch down somewhere in between takes, but where did he put it?
Yeah, how about that?
Evaluation indeterminate. Retain for corollary information.
On the episode I'd Rather Fight Than Switch, Uncle Martin takes Brennan's hidden engagement ring from Bill Bixby and levitates it into the breast pocket of Mrs. Brown's brother's gray suit. And you can see that the string is actually attached to the ring, but we'll talk about strings later. And a few seconds later, the ring is back in Bill Bixby's hand. Somehow, Brennan eventually finds his missing ring in the pocket of his black tuxedo. Feels like somebody got their wires crossed somewhere on this one.
Wires, mirrors, you know, the old gimmicks.
I resent that. There isn't a wire attached to that finger. Look.
Of course, Uncle Martin had the fastest finger in the West. As a Martian, he could levitate almost anything by just pointing. But in real life, making such a magic trick work on TV required strings and wires that can be seen in today's high-definition TVs rather easily. Don't get me wrong, the real magic comes from the actors, and that's something that can never be diminished by larger screens and clearer images. In the episode Rocket to Mars, Mrs. Brown accidentally gives Martin's spaceship to the Junkman, and it ends up at the local fairground. The interesting part is that 1 second the rocket has thick chains holding it down, because now it's a connected car on the park ride, but seconds later it's disconnected from those big heavy chains and taken off into the air, which at this point the special effects wires we aren't supposed to see are holding up Martin's spaceship, and they've never been clearer, at least on today's high-definition television sets. Keep your eye on the door into the apartment when Martin appears and then disappears. See the shadow? It's almost a little bit spooky.
Handsome, lovable.
There's a couple of interesting things that become visible once the mirror breaks in this episode. One of them displays one of Ray Walston's habits behind the scenes. In the broken mirror to your left, you can see what looks like a round studio light. To your right, you can see Ray wearing sunglasses that he wasn't wearing before. The special features from My Favorite Martian 3rd season DVD release has home movies of behind the scenes that feature Ray wearing his sunglasses at every opportunity between shooting, as he was very sensitive to light.
Am I the first person you've ever seen with dark sunglasses?
No.
He did get to wear his sunglasses during part of one episode in season 1, on the episode How You Gonna Keep 'Em Down on the Pharmacy.
Any questions?
Just one, Ray. Was this your favorite song in the 80s?
Tim! How dare you!
Well, what is it that I can do for you, Bill?
Oh,
From that episode, that little old matchmaker Martin, Robert Colbert from the TV series Time Tunnel guest stars. I've done a video on that TV show too if you'd like to watch it after you finish this one. In his guest appearance on My Favorite Martian, Robert addresses Bill Bixby by Bill instead of his character's name Tim.
Well, what is it that I can do for you, Bill?
oh,
And it made it to the final cut,
I guess I'll have to watch that.
which goes to show you, if you don't act like you did something wrong, nobody else will likely notice. Coincidentally, Tim and Uncle Martin would do a little time traveling of their own later on. And now, some fun facts from My Favorite Martian. Bill Bixby and Batgirl Yvonne Craig dated from 1965 to 1967. She also appeared on the third season episode Keep Me from the Church on Time, where Tim thinks he's getting married to her character. Just think, the Hulk marrying Batgirl. Check out this neat Incredible Hulk foreshadowing from the episode Pay the Man the $24. It happens when Tim and Uncle Martin have traveled back into time during the Pilgrim days, and Tim ends up getting into a fight with an Indian over a girl.
Now look, I'm getting angry. I don't want to have to unleash my strength.
Sound familiar?
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Then there's this phone scene.
Operator, I called the wrong number.
Why don't you try the operator again, sir?
Kindly hang up and redial, please.
You don't understand! I know 25 cents!
My Favorite Martian ran between 1963 and 1966. It was Bixby's first series. It aired on CBS just like The Incredible Hulk. It actually produced more episodes than The Incredible Hulk, even though it aired for only 3 seasons. Although each episode only lasted a half an hour piece, of course. And Bill Bixby on that show played Tim O'Hara, a young newspaper reporter, and Ray Walston played the Martian. The premise is pretty simple. A 450-year-old Martian is stranded on Earth and takes the guise of Tim O'Hara's uncle while he tries to make repairs on his spaceship. My Favorite Martian was turned into a Saturday morning TV series, but without the original stars. It ran between 1973 and 75, but only 16 episodes were made. Jonathan Harris, aka Dr. Smith from Lost in Space, took over as Uncle Martin, and Howard Morris, aka Ernest T. Bass from The Andy Griffith Show, did the voice of Tim O'Hara. The cartoon series featured Martin's nephew from Mars, Andy, or Andromeda, as he was known on Mars. Andromeda actually appeared once on the TV series on the episode When You Get Back to Mars, Are You Gonna Get It?, but was never shown after that, even though the character was not shown as having made it back to Mars. The character was considered for addition to the original series had there been a 4th season. Years later, Bill Bixby brought his My Favorite Martian co-star, Ray Walston, on board to guest star in the Incredible Hulk 3rd season episode, My Favorite Magician. The title was a play of words on My Favorite Martian and Bixby's other series from the 70s entitled The Magician. Now in the Hulk episode that reunites Ray Walston and Bixby, Walston plays a magician named Jasper Dow. Jasper is sort of a washed-up, never-was showman who is fighting health issues and worried that his old flame is about to marry a crook. There's some humor in this episode, but not as much as you might expect considering it was a tribute to a classic TV comedy.
Don't get up.
It's nice seeing Bill Bixby and Ray Walston reunited years later, but they are definitely playing different characters with more of a dramatic turn than My Favorite Martian ever was. There was, at least to me, some feeling of familiarity with Ray Walston's dialogue. I could just hear Uncle Martin saying some of those exact words.
If Matthew Brady and I had only had one of these at Gettysburg.
I was adored everywhere I went, outdrawing even Houdini.
The first Hulk out is pretty neat as Banner is doing a magic trick where he must escape a box filled with water, but is unable to because Walton's character Jasper had forgot to put the escape key back in its hiding place. And in the last Hulk out, we get to see the Hulk save Jasper's old girlfriend from marrying a crook. It's not one of the best Hulk episodes I've ever seen, but it's worth watching to see Bill Bixby and Ray Walston reunited. Bob Hastings from McHale's Navy appeared on this Hulk episode. He played on the pilot episode of the Amazing Spider-Man TV series as a totally different character as well. Now, Hong Kong Phooey's voice, Scatman Crothers, guest starred as Edgar McGee, no relation to Mr. McGee, the reporter played by Jack Colvin. Also, Anne Shadeen played Jasper's daughter. She went on to star as the mother of the TV family on Alf. My Favorite Martian had a comic book series, just like the Hulk, but this series only lasted 9 issues and was printed by Gold Key Comics. The series was rebooted into a feature film in 1999 with a new cast. Ray Walston did make an appearance in the film, though. Ray Walston went on to star as the judge on Picket Fences, Popeye's father on the Popeye motion picture, and Mr. Hand on Fast Times, the movie and the series. Ray Walston hated My Favorite Martian after he was finished with it, but always looked back at the opportunity to work with Bill Bixby as one of the highlights of his career, and said the two worked very well together.
Way out. Love you all. Love you.
Well, Uncle Martin, I hope this won't take too long.
Walston did grow to become proud of My Favorite Martian toward the end of his life, after years of positive comments from fans who grew up watching his show. Bill Bixby said to the magazine TV Picture Life in 1964, "I've learned more in one season about acting from watching Ray than from everything else I've ever done." If you like cartoons, check out my other channel, Brady Cat Cartoons, for some wacky fun with my mostly original cast of characters. I'll link to one of my cartoon videos at the end of this one. My goal is to make cartoons fun, like the old days, when I used to wake up at 6:30 in the morning to watch Saturday morning cartoons. Well, thanks for watching the TV Crazy Man channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for future notifications. Please like and share the video to other people. And comment. Let me know what you thought of this video. Really appreciate it. Thanks and have a great day.